Today, I'm going to be telling you guys the top tier best late game monkeys that you need to have in your late game runs. So that basically means that runs that you're going for about like round 300 plus, round 200 plus, those types of rounds where you're going ultra late game. And I'm not going to be including heroes or paragons because as we all know, they are extremely good for late games. So just the monkey upgrades and tiers in general. And I'm going to be going by these tiers pretty quick because this is probably going to be a long video because there's a lot of good ones. First, we have the Balloon Crush. Now, putting this in the back of the track is arguably the best because once you pop the BADs, this thing can stun the DDTs and all the other balloons that are not the bad, sorry. Next, you have the 204 Tax Zone. This thing was a bunch of buffs, is probably the best tower because all the projectiles all being max buff with the true sun god, with villages, with alchemists, it makes it an extremely strong tower for late game. Super brittle and embrittlement are also super good because it just increases the damage of all your monkeys when attacking something like a bad. Same goes with the Glue Storm. I always have this guy whenever I'm doing the boss event or I'm going super late game because he slows down the balloons and increases the damage taken from all the other monkeys. Next, for the sniper, we have the cripple Moab because this thing can stun like ZOMGs, bads, or not bads, BFBs, and Moabs. I always have the Flying Fortress because as everyone knows, the Flying Fortress is just one of the best towers in the game basically, so I always have it. And I always try to have the middle path and the top path Dartling Gunner because everyone knows they're just extremely good towers, and this guy can pop down the bads and the BFBs or ZOMGs extremely easy, and this guy can clean up the super ceramics. So a super good combo. Next, I think everyone knew this was coming. It's the True Sun God / Sun God Temple. Now, I don't even need to explain. This thing has high damage, high pierce, buffs everything if you get into a support temple. It's just a mandatory tower if you're going for late game because of how good it is. There's not much to say, just that it's just such a good tower that if you don't have it, you're basically throwing. Next, we have the Grand Sabot, which, as everyone knows, it'll decrease the amount of health that ZOMGs, BFBs, and Moabs have when starting off the track, which is extremely good for late game because of how much health they have. Another must-have. Next, we have the permanent Breo, and I don't even need to explain why you should always have this guy. But also the Balloon Master Alchemist because it can pop the Moabs, the ZOMGs, and the BFBs and turn them into red balloons, which is like we always said is extremely good because they normally have a lot of health. Next, the Avatar of Wrath is extremely strong because with all of his buffs, with all the druids open, Sun God Alchemist, and village, and ultra boost sometimes, this thing can be a powerhouse and just carry your lobby basically. This thing is mandatory if you have it with buffs because of how hard it will carry you in the end game. Next, as we all know, we have the Super Mines. I don't need to explain this one because you already know how OP this thing is with attack speed buffs, but also the Carpet of Spikes is super duper good. However, it will lag your game a lot, so I don't normally have it. However, if you have like the strongest PC in the world, then definitely get this guy because he's just so powerful in the end game. Lastly, I'm just going to include the Ultra Boost and Homeland Defense. I put them together because, as we all know, they both buff, and they don't get a lot of pops either way, but they're mandatory for endgame because of just how good the buffs are. You get a 50% attack or 100% attack speed basically with this thing all map range, and as we all know, the Ultra Boost will Ultra Boost their monkeys and make them even more powerful. Anyway, that's just a quick guide on me explaining, in my opinion, all the best monkeys that you should have for your late game run. Hopefully this helps you guys out so you can finally hit your new best record in the late game. I don't really know. My record is like 348, so if you can beat that, just comment down below what round you got to. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.